Now, if my secondary school history lessons have taught me anything, it's that the inventor of the first headless bass was actually King Henry VIII. Famously had 7 basses, and their fates were remembered in time through the following rhyme. Divorced, beheaded, died, divorced, beheaded, survived. And so the lesson that we all took from this is that if Headless is good enough for the king, it's surely good enough for us as well. Is that right? Well, they said that a king from England was famous for playing the headless bass, so I just assumed. Hi, my name's Johnny, and today I want to talk all about headless basses. Why do they exist? What are the benefits? And are they right for you? And in order to help me out with this discussion, this is the Space 4 from Cort. Now, you might remember that I actually reviewed the 5-string version of this bass in 2024, and I had a lot of people commenting saying, this is great, this sounds and looks amazing, but I don't play a 5-string, or I really want a 4-string. And so the royal court have provided the good people of the realm this 4-string version of the really beautiful, excellent Space 5 that came out last year. And speaking of providing, I do have to say that Cort have sent me this bass to check out today, but instead of doing a full rundown of it, I wanted to talk a bit about the history of headless basses and talk more about that topic itself. I will be doing some sound demos of this throughout this video, but if you want a more spec-heavy breakdown and deeper thoughts of impressions of the Space series, you can click up in the cards and check out my old video. Now, speaking of things in the past, I want to take it back to where the headless bass began. And I bet you that you cannot guess who or which company designed the first ever headless electric bass. It was actually designed in 1975 by a builder called Gene Fields at Fender. That's not who I expected at all. Now, whilst that prototype was sadly shelved before production, just 2 years later, a little known character called Ned Steinberger released the first headless bass in 1977. Ned Steinberger was originally a furniture designer, but then changed his ways and started designing instruments. Debuting at the 1980 NAMM show, this was called the L2 model, and it was praised for super compact size, as well as having no headstock to really alleviate weight, whilst not sacrificing any of the tone. And like I said before, the headless fad really caught on with some huge notable players. This includes Geddy Lee from Rush, Tony Levin from King Crimson and Peter Gabriel, Mark King of Level 42, and Tina Weymouth of Talking Heads. Now, if you want to support this channel for free, make sure you like this video and hit subscribe. It really helps to keep the lights on and keeps doing what I'm doing. It lets me know that you like this and you want me to keep making videos. So make sure you go and click subscribe, because otherwise I'm deleting the channel. Now, out of those players that I mentioned, Mark King is an interesting one, and so is Geddy Lee actually, because both are well known for applying immense force to their basses. And one of the benefits of losing the headstock is actually an improved string tension. Obviously, with a normal bass, you have this kind of break angle at the top here where the string is bent over the nut. And this straight string pull actually improves intonation, gives you a slightly tighter string feel. And this is particularly good for people doing slap bass and kind of like fast routines. One of the players that has all of those things is Mark King. absolute king of slap bass from the 80s. He famously uses status basses, who were also really well known for adopting that headless look. A lot of people probably just think that it's to be different. There are even more benefits to talk about. Another one is tuning stability. Now, whilst the normal machine head method isn't going anywhere, this innovative bridge design means that they're not going to get knocked as easy as a headstock would, and it's much harder to turn these in order to change the tuning. So this actually locks it in place a lot firmer than your classic machine heads do on a standard headstock. So that might be another reason why players like Geddy Lee favoured a headless, because he uses his fingers so aggressively, just like I did with your mum. Combined with its naturally lighter weight means that you can do a longer show much easier. And with this bass in particular, what makes it nice and easy to play is this neck. The satin finish on this is so nice. And in the 4-string as well is super comfy. The neck is actually a 7-piece roasted maple with this purple heart streak going down the middle. And it's also got a little bit of walnut in there as well, which is known to provide a tighter mid-range and well-defined highs, which again aligns with everything that a headless bass is trying to accomplish. In the past, if I'm honest, I always thought that headless basses were a bit of a gimmick, that it was just for show, and that I didn't really like it, you know? I just thought it was a statement that I didn't really want to make. But this bass made me rethink headless guitars. Now, one of the previous drawbacks of headless basses was that you needed special strings with 2 ball ends on. However, what the Chord Space 4 and 5 does is actually have this really cool clamping system that slams down on those strings and means that you can just cut them right to the top where you need to. And it means that you can have completely standard strings on this, which I think is fantastic. We've had to listen to some tone samples along the way, but I want to say that my favourite thing about this bass is probably the onboard preamp, because it's made me enjoy Bartolini pickups. I've tried these Bartolini Mark I pickups in a few basses before, and it's always just left me a bit underwhelmed, if I'm honest. But this bass sounds amazing, I think. It sounds super premium and high-end, even though this costs just over £600, which is an absolute steal in my opinion. 3-band preamp is really good at providing really strong mid-range and exceptional bright highs. I think that it sounds really crisp and loads of clarity. And in this next demo, you'll hear me kind of messing around with these settings a little bit more so you can hear them until I dial in the tone that I like the best. So there we go. Let me know in a comment down below what you think about headless basses. As well as hitting like and subscribing, make sure you click the links in the description to check out my bass podcast, as well as a load of other links and the links to where you can check out the Space series from Court for yourselves. Once again, thank you so much for watching. I'll see you next time.